Can I just say something real quick? Just get this out of the way right now, out in the open. The fact that The Miz is not the WWE champion right now is an absolute travesty. I mean, sure, he's built up the Intercontinental title in a way that hasn't been done in some time. He's definitely one of the top, if not the top IC champion in the last 15 or so years. With the Universal title having been relegated to a part-timer's belt, The Miz is the de facto top heel on the Raw brand. But what good is that if you don't have the top championship of the show to back it up? Instead of holding on to the IC title all this time to eventually drop it to someone who probably won't be able to take advantage of the momentum, The Miz should be running things as the Universal champion on Raw, or as the WWE champion on SmackDown. And yes, I've said in the past that world titles aren't always required to cement a wrestler's legacy, but for all the good The Miz has done for the company over the years, at least to make up for his lackluster time with the belt back in 2010, for Miz to not be a world champion right now feels like a 98% completion rating. Well, at least he has some good consolation prizes, stability as a top heel, a loving family, and of course, it's the star of the Marine franchise. Well, hey, that one's not so bad. This week on Marine Month, we're looking at the Marine 3 Homefront, which came out on DVD and Blu-ray in 2013. It's the first one star in The Miz, who has gone on to be the franchise's leading man ever since. In this one, a no-nonsense Marine returns to his hometown and finds himself fighting a group of locally sourced extremists, all in an effort to save his little sister, who in all honesty looks older than Miz does. In the original plans for the movie, the lead role was going to be played by Bob Holly, and... I'm sorry, what? That can't be right. You're telling me they were really going to go from John Cena to Ted DiBiase Jr. to 46-year-old Bob Holly? That doesn't even make any sense. This movie came out 4 years after he was released from the company. I suppose he could have been considered for the role right after Marine 2, which came out the same year he was released. That certainly would have been an interesting choice. I could easily see him murdering people on screen and in the ring if provoked, but no. Plans fell through for 46-year-old Bob Holly as he was on the shelf with a neck injury. Their next choice for the lead was Randy Orton. What? Again? Seriously? They were going to try to go to the Orton well one more time? Guys, that bad conduct discharge from the Marines did not go away between movie 1 and movie 3. Ultimately, Mike Mizanin was picked to anchor the latest installment. The fact that he was the third choice for the role is one of the many things I'm sure has helped motivate his angry insider promos over the last couple of years. So after seeing the over-the-top strength of John Triton and the quiet killing efficiency of Joe Linwood, where does the Awesome One rank among his fellow movie Marines? We're about to find out with the Marine 3 Homefront. In a big change from the previous two films, this one begins not in a war-torn battlefield, but rather with lots of stock footage of Marines in training.
By land, sea, or air, whoever combat may be, Marines are prepared. It wasn't just about achieving your goals, but about believing in yourself.
Well, it only took 7 years and 3 movies, but the US Marine Corps finally got that recruitment advert they wanted. We meet the Miz's character, Sergeant Jake Carter, a name no doubt picked by the highly sophisticated, bland movie hero name generator 3000. He's on leave and is returning to his hometown of Bridgeton, Washington, a state that does not actually have a town called Bridgeton. I can't believe they didn't try to use that as another way for the Miz to get heat on Daniel Bryan. He'd be like, hey Daniel, my Washington logging town is way better than your Washington logging town, and mine doesn't even exist. Okay, that haircut has to be on the outskirts of military regulations. As Jake spends time with his family, we go to Seattle, where a group of default CAWs burst into a bank, presumably to rob it. The leader of this group of baddies is named Jonas Pope. We had a villain named Rome in the first Marine movie, and one named Pope in number 3. Should we expect some bosses in the next 2 movies named the Cardinal or Vinny Attican? Pope is played by Neil McDonough, who recently played Damien Dark on Arrow and Dum Dum Dugan in the Marvel Cinematic and TV universes. He's also the second actor from the Arrow series to appear in a Marine film, as Manu Bennett was one of Rome's henchmen in the first one. Probably explains how Stephen Amell got the rub from WWE a few years back. Whereas in the last film we saw the villains driven to violence by their hatred of the white man, the baddies in this movie seem to want to fight against the man. The closest thing I can come up with for the motives of Pope is some kind of extreme libertarian socialism.
Greed, people. It's a disease.
Personal responsibility, that's what builds a nation. You take what you need. No more, no less.
Oh, well, hey, they're not stealing the money. They're just setting it on fire. That's not so bad. Hey, wait a minute. From the get-go, Jake tries to assert himself as the protector of his sisters, Amanda and Lily, as their parents passed away some time ago. For example, he insists on helping Amanda pay for the mortgage on her house, and heavily disapproves of who Lily is dating.
Darren's waiting.
Darren?
Darren Carlisle, Miller's kid, you remember him.
I remember not liking him.
You know, I'm pretty sure this is why The Miz and Alex Riley broke up. A-Rah loved that Money in the Bank briefcase so much, but The Miz just couldn't approve. Jake gets in trouble at a local watering hole when he goes overkill and beats the piss out of a guy who's trying to start a fight. His sisters and his best friend, the police chief, all come down hard on him.
I've had better days.
If you are going to come home from time to time, you have to learn how to assimilate to normal society.
Me, Hark, Lily, we love you to death, but you gotta let this go, Jake. We don't need a protector. We're all grown up here.
Alright, so we're getting ready for these words to be eaten. So first, preheat your oven to 400 degrees, take your words and place them on a baking sheet. I like to have mine lined with foil, but it's totally up to you. Place the sheet into the oven, then bake for about 4.5 minutes, the time it takes for everything in the story to go crazy. At a junkyard in town, Pope and his associate Eckert, played by a poor man's Johnny Drama, are doing a deal with a smuggler.
Look, I understand y'all don't like a curveball. We need time to think about it. We can pull this off till tomorrow, the next day.
All right.
As the deal goes south, we see that Lily and her boyfriend Darren are nearby and witness the whole thing. Pope has his men capture the two and take them as hostages.
She said that she saw somebody get shot. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I called Hark, but he didn't answer.
Where?
Grayson's junkyard.
Oh, now you need protecting. Funny how that works out. Oh, words are done. Jake goes to the junkyard to find out what's going on, where he finds one of Pope's goons disposing of the smuggler's body. He interrogates him about where Lily is when another bad guy comes up from behind. How can the most must-see superstar in WWE not see them? Jake marines his way out of the jam by blasting both men with a shotgun. As he goes to the abandoned ferry to investigate, he stumbles upon the FBI, who are also there to take down Pope. The agents provide more background about Pope's character and why he acts the way he does. His parents lost their entire life savings in the stock market crash, and his sister was kicked off her health insurance while fighting cancer.
Pope flew to Spokane to meet with the insurance adjuster. It was a short meeting. He pulled a .22, shot her in her face.
Jesus.
So this guy's whole MO is fighting injustice, wealth inequality, and the man. Wait, why is he not a babyface here? On the ferry, Pope has a one-on-one chat with Lily and tries to explain his motives to her.
Okay, I don't mind that sort of rich guy. He's doing something for society. There are others out there that make 10 times, 50 times that by doing absolutely nothing. Nothing for society.
Oh, come now, you flatter me, but seriously, I don't make that much money on YouTube. Pope leaves her alone with a goon who wants to get all up in her business when he's interrupted by another crew member. Whoa, a group that fights economic injustice and shoots would-be rapists? Sign me up! It turns out old handlebar mustache over here is actually an undercover federal agent and works to get Lily and her boyfriend out of there.
Teddy's dead.
What?
Now look, we're all friends here. We're all pretty comfortable and open with each other. I think we can all agree with confidence that is one handsome goon. I mean, look at that jawline, that physique. Is that guy a model?
We auditioned for the same role back then. It would have been all mine if les producers had not discovered my, how you say, multiple stalking charges.
Pope and his partner discover that the feds are onto them and takes out a couple of agents scouting the scene. This prompts the agent in charge to push their attack ahead of schedule, which Jake objects to.
Sarge, I don't know if you're some kind of war hero, a tank mechanic, a cook, and I don't give a shit. You just touched a federal agent. Arrest him!
Jake gets in trouble for shoving the agent, then responds by shoving some more agents.
Jake!
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Really?
The FBI moves in but are completely outgunned by the extremists and get wiped out. As the agent on the inside gets killed, Lily and Darren try to escape on their own but get separated. Meanwhile, Police Chief Harkin releases Jake and gives him a revolver, allowing him to go back and finish the job himself. Okay, this is getting ridiculous even for this franchise. He's all by himself armed with a single handgun going against this obscenely armed militia. What chance does he possibly have of surviving? Oh. Okay, well, you have the floor. Elsewhere on the boat, Pope and Drama kill a state trooper who was supposed to escort them to safety per a deal made with the FBI, then swap out the plates with another patrol car they were going to use for their big job anyway. That was pretty fortunate. Pope plans on blowing up a building in Seattle that's full of corporate bigwigs using the patrol car, which is filled with military-grade explosives. Just before they're set to leave, Jake tries to make the save, but is laid out by Pope's second-in-command. This after Jake had already wounded him in an earlier shootout. Come on, Jake, a true Marine would have confirmed the kill, then done some righteous teabagging for good measure.
Pope, I can handle him.
Leave me the gun, get the fuck out of here.
Well, you're already wounded, and this guy did just kill several of my own men already, but okie dokie. As Pope and Drama escape with Lily, Pope's partner has Jake pinned down, but before he can finish the job... Well, look at that. Darren, the boyfriend who Jake disapproved of earlier, saved his life. I think that makes him the Marine now. I've never served. I'm not sure how this works. Jake finds out that the bad guys are going through Bridgeton on the way to Seattle and chases after them. Back in town, Pope and Drama are cornered by federal agents, forcing Pope to activate the bomb early.
It's not the statement I wanted to make, but it'll make the headlines.
I totally know how you feel. One time I sent this tweet, right? Like 5 minutes later I go and check on it, and I realized there's a typo in there. I felt miserable. Despite outnumbering the baddies by about 4-1, these well-trained agents are completely unable to shoot these bastards. If Pope turns sideways, he might as well become invisible to them. After losing several men, one agent is finally able to kill Drama, who went out guns a-blazing. Pope, who still has Lily as his hostage, is eventually cornered by Harkin and Jake. Thank you for not shooting my gorgeous face. Ugh. I guess he didn't learn his lesson the last time he messed with a small Washington logging town. So everything is good again. The baddies have been killed, their targets are spared, and everyone can go back to their normal, oh my god, the bomb. Jake has less than a minute to haul ass and get the patrol car away from the main part of town. So like 3 blocks. Damn you, Farmer Dave! Wow, only one explosion this entire time? Good restraint movie. After barely outrunning an explosion that should have turned his insides to jelly, Jake Carter walks away from the wreckage with the ultimate cocky swagger as some Fuel sound-alike song plays in the background and his sisters show up and celebrate. Wow, you're like bloody and shit. Man, wish I had another sister right about now. And that was the Marine 3 Homefront. So, was it awesome? Was it must-see? Was it OOH-RAH? Well, yes to all 3 actually. Of the films I've seen so far this month, Marine 3 is the most well-rounded of the bunch. The Miz is easily the best actor out of all 3 leads in the franchise and is able to convey different emotions and levels, something Cena and DiBiase couldn't do. Though I will say he has some room for improvement, which we'll hopefully get to see in the next 2 installments. Like in Marine 2, the action is more gritty and less cartoony. There were definitely a few holy shit moments that got a pop out of me. Like Temuera Morrison in Marine 2, Neil McDonough as Pope is a great villain. Both believe they are fighting for the right cause, but what makes Pope an even scummier villain is that he isn't consistent with his moral code. He wants to speak for the poor and downtrodden, yet has no qualms about killing any of them while targeting his bigger prize.
But what about the workers? Well, what about everybody else?
To him, the end justifies the means, which makes you want to see him go down even more. Jake Carter's brother as protector story gave him a place to grow as a character, but I don't think it was executed very well. Amanda and Lily insist they don't need someone to watch out for them, and Jake resents that. So what finally makes him see the light? He realizes they'll be fine because they each have other men who will protect them now. That whole introduction was a little excessive. They might as well have put a web address in their logo at the bottom of the screen when it was over. Was this necessary? The entire franchise is a commercial for the Marines. They just did 3 movies about 3 separate Marines who can take out entire criminal organizations by themselves on their day off, no less. Who doesn't want to sign up for that? What more can our government possibly do to boost military recruitment? Next thing you know, they'll pay some professional sports league millions of dollars to put on blatantly staged and massively overblown displays of patriotism, turning the flag, our troops, and the national anthem into a hollow advertisement. They wouldn't do that, would they? The Miz might not be the world champion we deserve, but at least here, he's the hero this film franchise needs. So grab your entourage and shine up your Mizzies, because next week we're going to see him once again in the Marine 4 Moving Target. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, comment below, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.